Welcome to today's deep dive. Um, I want to start right off by offering a divine blessing for your day and, well, for your entire week ahead. May it be filled with clarity, grace, and purpose.
That's a beautiful way to start.
Yeah, I thought so too. Because today, we are talking about a time when divine blessings and divine curses were literally the architecture of reality.
They really were the foundation of everything.
Right. Like, you know how today we just blindly click accept on the terms and conditions for like a new app or piece of software?
Oh, nobody reads those.
Exactly. We scroll right past the dense legalese, check the box, and just sort of assume the stakes are, well, pretty low. I mean, the worst case scenario is your account gets suspended, right? Or maybe you pay a late fee.
Right, we view contracts through this lens of minor inconvenience. But in the ancient worldview, it was totally different.
How so?
Well, the fine print dictated whether the very fabric of your reality held together or whether it completely unraveled. The terms and conditions were literally the barrier between existence and non-existence.
Wow. Okay, so our mission in this deep dive is to explore the staggering fine print of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And for this, we are pulling insights from the historical and theological notes found in both the Holman and the NAA study Bibles.
Two really excellent resources.
They are, and trust me, for those listening, we are not just reading a dusty list of ancient rules today.
No, definitely not.
We are looking at a masterclass in ancient literary structure. It outlines absolute unbridled flourishing on one side and absolute terrifying devastation on the other.
Yeah, and to truly grasp the weight of this text, we have to look at the geographical and historical stage. The NAA map notes illustrate this beautifully.
Paint that picture for us.
Okay, so the Israelites are in this massive transitional moment, right? They've left Egypt, they've survived the wilderness, and they're preparing to enter Canaan.
The promised land.
Exactly. And before they cross over, Moses has them renew their covenant with God. And he places the entire nation in a deeply symbolic landscape. They are physically standing in a valley between two literal mountains.
Right, Mount Gerizim on one side and Mount Ebal on the other.
Spot on. So Mount Gerizim is designated as the mountain of blessings for obedience to the covenant.
Okay.
And Mount Ebal is the mountain of curses for disobedience. It's this visceral, physical representation of the existential choice sitting right before them.
Okay, let's unpack this. We start in the sunlight, basically, on Mount Gerizim.
The good side.
Yeah, the really good side. When you read the first 14 verses of this chapter, the promise of a quote-unquote good life is intensely specific, and it's rhythmic, too.
Very poetic.
Right. It says you will be blessed in the city and blessed in the field. Blessed will be the fruit of your womb, the fruit of your ground, and the offspring of your animals.
It covers everything.
It even talks about the blessing of your basket and your kneading bowl and being blessed when you come in and when you go out.
Yeah, and that poetic rhythm serves a highly technical structural purpose. The Holman notes introduce a really vital linguistic term here, and it's called a merism.
A merism.
Right. Ancient biblical Hebrew didn't always have a single abstract philosophical word for concepts like the entire universe or omnipresence.
Like we do today.
Exactly. So to convey totality, they used a merism. It's a figure of speech combining two contrasting parts to draw a linguistic circle around everything in between.
Oh, I see. It's like saying, I search high and low.
Yes, perfect example.
Right, because I didn't literally just look at the ceiling and the floor. I looked everywhere. So when the text says in the city and in the field, it literally means your entire geographical existence.
Everywhere you step. And coming in and going out covers the totality of your daily actions, from waking up to going to sleep.
Wow.
The text is establishing that the blessing isn't just some vague, passive feeling of goodwill. The notes emphasize the dynamic vigor of this promise. It says these blessings will actively overtake the obedient person.
Like it's chasing them down.
Exactly. The favor of God is portrayed as a force you literally cannot outrun.
That is so wild. It's essentially an ancient, all-encompassing life insurance, business, and prosperity policy all rolled into one.
That's a great way to put it.
I mean, your commute, your dinner table, your family planning it is comprehensively covered. But there is a much deeper layer here than just securing a comfortable lifestyle, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is a direct, aggressive theological statement aimed at the neighbors.
Yeah, the neighbors in Canaan.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is a brilliant polemic. The NAA notes point out that this intense, hyper-specific focus on fertility, like multiplying the womb, the land, the crops, the animals, that was a direct challenge to the Canaanite worldview they were about to walk into.
because the local populations worshipped Baal as the supreme god of fertility,
Right. He was the storm god.
the one supposedly riding the clouds and bringing the rain.
Exactly. The Canaanites believed their physical survival depended entirely on appeasing Baal to ensure the rain fell and the crops grew.
So it was a matter of life and death for them.
Oh, totally. By explicitly stating that the God of Israel is the one who will open the heavens, send the rain, and multiply the herds, the text is systematically stripping Baal of his supposed jurisdiction.
It's just a total monopoly on blessing.
Yes. It's declaring that Yahweh is the true and only source of life.
Okay, I have to push back here for a second, though,
Sure.
because we're talking about a loving, divine relationship between God and Israel. But when we look at what happens if this covenant is broken, the sheer volume and intensity of the curses sound less like a relationship and more like a vindictive mafia shakedown.
A mafia shakedown. I like that.
Well, nice little civilization you've got here. Be a real shame if the sky turned to bronze. I mean, if this covenant covers literally every aspect of existence, from childbirth to baking bread, what are the mechanics of this agreement if it's broken? Why would a holy text resort to this level of threat?
That's the modern lens clashing directly with ancient legal realities.
Okay, explain that.
Well, it raises an important question about how ancient societies organized themselves. The text of Deuteronomy borrows heavily from the structure of ancient Near Eastern suzerain vassal treaties.
Suzerain vassal treaties.
Right. So when a great king, a suzerain, made a treaty with a lesser nation, a vassal, the contract always ended with a list of blessings for loyalty and horrific curses for rebellion.
Just standard legal format for the Bronze Age.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Israelites would have immediately recognized this legal format. God is communicating the severity of the covenant in the geopolitical language of their day.
So what does this all mean, for the structure of the text itself? Because the NWA notes highlight a massive anomaly.
They do.
The blessings we just discussed take up 14 verses, and they are beautiful in total. But then the text pivots to the consequences of disobedience, and those curses go on for an agonizing 54 verses.
It's a huge shift.
Why this massive imbalance? Does this mean the ancient worldview was inherently pessimistic? Or is there a deliberate rhetorical strategy at play here?
It's definitely a strategy. The sheer exhaustiveness of those 54 verses was meticulously designed to eliminate human loopholes.
Loopholes.
Yeah, human beings are incredibly skilled at rationalizing and finding exceptions,
Yeah.
right? We think, well, maybe the crops failed, but I can fall back on my trade business in the city.
Right, there's always a backup plan.
Exactly. But this comprehensive point-by-point dismantling of every single previously mentioned blessing shuts down every possible at least or silver lining.
Man, it systematically unwrites the merisms.
Yes.
The linguistic circle of totality is weaponized against them.
That's a powerful way to say it.
If you were blessed in the city and field, you are now cursed in the city and field. And the imagery used to describe the environment turning against them is just deeply suffocating. The text warns that the sky over your head will be bronze and the earth beneath you will be iron.
That is the ultimate description of severe, inescapable drought.
A bronze sky.
Yeah, in an agrarian society, rain is the absolute baseline of survival. So a bronze sky means a sky that is completely impenetrable. It reflects the heat back down, offering absolutely no moisture and no hope of a cloud breaking.
And an iron earth.
An iron earth means soil so baked, so hard and dead that a farmer's plow can't even scratch the surface. The Holman notes classify this as a scenario of absolute hopelessness.
And even if you manage to sprout a single crop, the text says locusts and worms will devour it.
Right, nature itself rebels.
Your olive trees will drop their olives before you can even press them for oil. It's literally a hostile takeover by the physical environment.
Exactly.
But it doesn't stop at agriculture. The social structure completely inverts.
The social reversal is profound. Within the blessings, Israel was promised they would be the head and not the tail, meaning they would lend to many nations, borrow from none, and serve as leaders.
A real position of strength.
Yes, but the curse flips that hierarchy upside down. The foreigner living among them will rise higher and higher, while the Israelite sinks lower and lower into crippling debt and subservience.
It's like doing 99% of the work on a complex college group project, only for a complete stranger to walk in, put their name on the final presentation, and get the A.
That's painfully relatable.
Right. But scale that feeling of helpless injustice up to a cosmic, existential level.
Yeah, much worse.
The text literally says, you will build a house, but someone else will live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but you won't get to drink the wine. You'll even get engaged, and another person will take your spouse.
It introduces the psychological torture of unfulfilled hope. You expend the labor, you see the prize materializing, but the moment you reach out to grasp it, the cosmos snatches it away.
That is brutal.
Breaking the covenant ensures a total alienation from the fruits of your own life.
It's like watching a movie of their national success played in reverse. A treadmill that is constantly speeding up backwards, where every human effort to build a life is actively and systematically unraveled by the cosmos itself.
A treadmill going backward, yes.
And this inevitably creates a horrific chain reaction.
It does.
Because if the agriculture collapses, the economy collapses. If the economy collapses, the nation becomes weak and vulnerable. And in the ancient Near East, weakness invites predators.
Always.
Which leads to the darkest part of the text, the specific claustrophobic nightmare of ancient siege warfare.
Yeah, the text pulls absolutely no punches here.
Oh.
Verses 53 to 57 are arguably among the most difficult to read in all of ancient literature.
They really are.
A foreign enemy surrounds their cities, establishing a blockade that cuts off all food and water supplies.
And it details a chillingly specific psychological descent. During a siege, starvation becomes so severe that the text highlights the most tender and refined men and women.
People described as being so delicate, they wouldn't even venture to put the sole of their foot to the bare ground.
Right. And under the pressure of starvation, these same people will turn violently against their own families.
The absolute breakdown of the most fundamental human bonds. Spouses turning on each other for a scrap of food.
And the ultimate horror, parents secretly eating their own children, and even their afterbirth, hiding in the shadows because the famine has made them so territorial they begrudge sharing the gruesome meal with anyone else.
It's unthinkable.
It is the complete collapse of humanity, devolving into pure predatory survival instinct.
What's fascinating here is, well, fascinating in a dark, highly sobering way, the historical reality underpinning this text.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Relying on the study notes from both the Holman and NMLA Bibles, we see that this wasn't just hypothetical horror fiction dreamed up by a zealous author to scare the Israelites into line.
It wasn't just a philosophical worst-case scenario.
Not at all. These exact atrocities were recorded in later history. They were realities waiting in their future.
When did this happen?
The notes point out that this literal scenario played out centuries later during the Assyrian siege of Samaria, which was the capital of the northern kingdom. The city was surrounded and starved for 3 grueling years.
3 years?
Yeah. And it happened again during the Babylonian siege of Jerusalem in the southern kingdom. If you read the prophets, like Jeremiah or the author of Lamentations, they record the exact horrors of starvation and cannibalism happening in real time on the streets of Jerusalem.
Wow.
The text of Deuteronomy served as a hyper-specific prophetic warning of their eventual historical reality.
It's chilling. The fine print they agreed to was a literal prophecy.
Exactly.
Which leads us to the absolute bottom of this downward spiral. If the environment is a barren wasteland, the social structure is inverted, and the cities have been devoured by siege warfare, what is even left of the nation.
Nothing. Nothing but the complete loss of national identity.
The complete loss.
Yeah, the 54 verses of doom culminate in a tragic return to their origins.
Right. Verse 68 contains the final devastating curse. It states that the Lord will send them back to Egypt in ships.
In ships.
This population, which was promised on Mount Gerizim to be multiplied like the stars in the sky, is now reduced to a meager surviving remnant being shipped away.
The theological weight of this moment cannot be overstated. The Exodus from Egypt was the foundational event of Israel's entire salvation and existence as a people.
The moment everything began.
It was the moment God intervened, broke their chains, and formed them into a sovereign nation.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Returning to Egypt isn't just a change of address.
No, it is the anti-Exodus. It is the total categorical unmaking of their redemption. God is forcing a cosmic factory reset on their civilization, wiping away centuries of progress, freedom, and identity, and returning them to the exact blank slate slavery they started in.
Wow. And the text adds one final agonizing twist of irony.
The worst part.
Yeah, it says they will arrive in Egypt, and they will offer themselves for sale to their enemies as male and female slaves.
Yeah.
But, and this is the absolute kicker, no one will even buy them.
Just let the weight of that sink in. They have been stripped of land, family, and dignity. They are begging to accept the lowest possible rung of human existence, becoming someone's property, just to get a ration of bread.
Just to survive.
Right. But they are considered so thoroughly cursed, so utterly devoid of value, that they do not even qualify as viable human property.
It's the absolute floor of human degradation.
It really is.
Yeah.
The Holman Notes offer a crucial literary insight regarding this final verse, though.
Oh, what's that?
The use of the word Egypt here acts as a synecdoche.
A synecdoche. Let's define that for the audience because it elevates the whole concept.
A synecdoche is a figure of speech where a specific part is used to represent a whole, or a specific entity represents a broader category.
Like saying Wall Street when you mean the entire financial system.
Exactly. Why use Egypt? Because in the Hebrew consciousness, Egypt doesn't just mean the physical country down south.
Right.
Egypt was the ultimate symbol for any place of exile, deportation, slavery, and oppression.
That makes total sense.
Now, the notes do confirm that a literal return to Egypt did occur for many fleeing Israelites later during the Babylonian invasions. But structurally, Egypt represents the ultimate state of alienation from God. The covenant relationship is severed, and therefore their redemption is reversed.
It is an incredibly heavy, intense journey from the opening of this chapter to the final verse.
Very heavy.
But stepping back and viewing Deuteronomy 28 as a cohesive literary unit, you see how masterfully this ancient text uses extreme contrasts to communicate truth.
It's brilliant literature.
It really is. We started with total divine flourishing. We explored that beautiful merism, blessed coming in, blessed going out, where the universe itself acts as an ally,
Right.
conspiring to favor you because you are aligned with the creator of that universe.
And the contrast is the anti-exodus, where the universe actively dismantles every facet of your existence, from the rain to your own sanity, all because that alignment was broken.
Yeah.
It forces us to completely reconsider our modern assumptions about ancient texts.
Like they're just old myths.
Exactly. They weren't archaic, superstitious lists. They were profound philosophical and theological frameworks for understanding cause and effect on a grand cosmic scale.
They viewed the relationship with the divine as the absolute center of gravity.
The core of everything.
Right, and if you remove that center of gravity, the entire orbit of society, agriculture, and human decency just flies apart into chaos.
Pure chaos.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought to ponder on your own.
Oh, I like this.
Consider how the ancient concept of freedom is presented in these texts versus our modern world. Today, we usually define freedom as absolute autonomy, right?
Doing whatever you want.
Yeah, the ability to do whatever we want, whenever we want, entirely free from external constraints.
We view independence as the highest virtue.
But in the framework of this ancient covenant, true freedom and true human flourishing aren't about absolute autonomy at all. They are entirely tethered to obedience within a relationship.
Connectedness.
Yes, to be perfectly bound to the covenant is to be perfectly free from the bronze sky and the iron earth. Breaking that relationship, seeking that absolute unchained autonomy, it doesn't just result in a legal punishment. It results in the literal unraveling of reality itself.
That is a staggering thought.
It really begs the question for all of us, is true freedom found in absolute independence, or is it actually found in the right kind of dependence? Something to mull over as you go about your week.
A brilliant paradigm shift to leave off on.
Thank you for joining us as we unpacked the intense architecture of ancient blessing and curse. And as we officially close today's deep dive, I want to say goodbye by reminding you that God blesses all of you, our listeners. Take care, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.